What is talked about nearly every day by just about everyone? Here are some hints. Every day, it's written about on the front page of most newspapers. Sometimes people travel thousands of miles to experience it. At times, it can cause tremendous damage to property and even slow traffic, making it difficult for people to travel to their destinations. What is this phenomenon? If you said weather, you're right. Weather affects our lives every day, having the ability to shut down schools, bring cars to a standstill, and provide just the right conditions for certain kinds of sports. During the next few minutes, we're going to explore the nature of weather and some of the ways we monitor weather. When you woke up this morning, one of the first things you probably did was to look outside to see what the weather was like. What is weather? Weather is the daily condition of the Earth's atmosphere. In some places, the weather changes are abrupt and frequent, while in other places, the weather is relatively stable day to day. What is responsible for differences in weather? And which factors influence weather? What variables in the atmosphere interact to cause weather? There are several main factors that interact to affect weather, including heat, air pressure, wind, and moisture. Let's take a look at how heat interacts with the atmosphere to affect weather. The sun provides us with light during the day and is vital to life on Earth. When you feel the warmth of the sun, you're bombarded with a type of energy called radiant energy. Radiant energy is extremely important in that it warms the Earth and enables plants, animals, and humans to carry out life functions. A great deal of the sun's energy is actually absorbed, scattered, or reflected by the atmosphere. Water droplets and dust particles in the atmosphere can absorb or scatter radiant energy from the sun. A thin layer of gas called the ozone layer plays a crucial role in absorbing a type of radiant energy called ultraviolet radiation. Clouds also play a role in absorbing and reflecting radiant energy. The radiant energy that does reach the Earth's surface can also be scattered or absorbed. Ice, snow, land, and water can reflect radiant energy. The radiant energy that is absorbed by the atmosphere or land can be distributed or spread through the atmosphere in different ways. Let's take a look at some of these ways. This silver spoon has been in this boiling water for 15 minutes. You decide. Do you think this end of the spoon is hot or cold? It's very hot. How did this end get hot, even though it's not in the boiling water? Heat traveled up the spoon via the process of conduction. Conduction is the direct transfer of heat from one substance to the other. In the atmosphere, cooler air coming into contact with the warmer ground is often heated. Convection is another way heat is transferred in gases or liquids. The heat from this wood fire is slowly spreading throughout this cool room. This is an example of convection. Similarly, heat is distributed through the atmosphere from warm areas to cooler areas. Another way heat is distributed is via radiation. Radiation is the transfer of energy via waves. We receive radiant energy from the sun. Energy from the sun is the source of heat on Earth. Without the sun, the Earth would be dark and cold. You walk outside on a cold morning and you can feel that the temperature is cold. What is temperature? Temperature is a relative measurement of the heat of an object. Temperature is commonly used to measure the heat of air. You decide. How is temperature measured? Temperature is measured with an instrument called a thermometer. Most traditional thermometers consist of a thin glass tube with a bulb at one end, which is filled with a liquid which is sensitive to changes in temperature. Thermometers can also be digital, relying on electronics to operate. Temperature is measured in degrees. In most of the world, and in science, the Celsius scale is used to measure temperature in the metric system. The unit of temperature on the Celsius scale is the degrees Celsius. Water melts and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, and 100 degrees Celsius is the temperature at which water boils. Temperature is an important factor which influences the type of weather we experience. Next time you go outside, look straight up at the sky. Above you is over 800 kilometers of air, which is pushing down on your head. The force of this air pushing downward is referred to as air pressure. Air pressure depends on the density of air at any given point on the Earth's surface. Air pressure varies day to day and from place to place. A number of factors affect air pressure, including temperature, the amount of water vapor in the air, and elevation. Generally speaking, warmer air is less dense than cooler air. Therefore, warmer air tends to exert less pressure than cooler air. Moisture-laden air also tends to be less dense than dry air, thus exerting less air pressure. And as elevation increases, or you go up in altitude, the air becomes thinner or less dense. You decide. What instrument is used to measure air pressure? Air pressure is measured with an instrument called a barometer. Barometers help forecast the weather by monitoring changes in air pressure. Higher air pressure generally means fair weather is predicted, whereas low air pressure tends to signify cloudy and perhaps stormy weather. We've all felt the wind and seen the effect of wind moving objects. But what causes wind? Wind is generated by horizontal differences in air pressure. So, it can be said that air moving from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure produces wind. The greater the air pressure difference, the faster the wind blows. There are two general types of winds: local winds and global winds. Local winds are the type you feel on a beach when cooler wind from the ocean blows toward land. Mountains and valleys are also known to produce local winds. Global winds cover a much larger area on the Earth's surface. For example, westerly winds and trade winds are global winds, and they tend to predominantly flow in the same direction over large areas. Both local winds and global winds play a significant role in influencing weather. Have you ever noticed moisture on the grass early in the morning, even though it didn't rain during the night? Where did the moisture come from? It came from the air. As the air temperature dropped, the moisture condensed on the vegetation, forming dew. Moisture or water vapor in the air is called humidity. You've probably heard people say it's a humid day. Sometimes you can feel the humidity in the air, particularly on a hot and humid day, or on a cold, damp day. Water vapor in the air is a very important factor in the creation of weather, especially when it comes to the creation of rain or snow. During the past few minutes, we've learned how weather affects our daily lives. And we've taken a look at the factors which interact to create weather, including heat from the sun, and the means by which heat is distributed through the atmosphere via conduction, convection, and radiation. We also took a look at the role air pressure plays in affecting weather. We saw how wind is created both globally and locally, as well as the importance of moisture in the development of weather. So, the next time you look out the window at the weather, think about some of the factors which affect weather. You might just think about weather a little differently. Fill in the correct word to complete the sentence. Good luck, and let's get started. Number 1. Energy from the sun is absorbed, scattered, or Number 2. Is the direct transfer of heat via contact. Number 3. The is the source of heat on Earth. Number 4. Wind moves from areas of pressure to areas of low pressure. Number 5. Is a measure of water vapor in the air.